Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about Disclosure Day. Full spoilers, Steven Spielberg's latest movie is here. And I have to say, a lot of interesting choices. I think it's a good movie. I think there are 6 different movies happening with this movie. I think Steven Spielberg is secretly a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because if you have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're like, wow, a lot of this is taken directly from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we're going to get into that and the odd Fast and the Furious sequence that happens in this movie and all the worst aspects of War of the Worlds are in this movie. And I am just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And it's very long. It's felt like it's 3 hours and okay, so here's the thing. I got invited to the premiere that was gonna happen Monday, the day that Trump went to the Knicks game, and the premiere was at Lincoln Square, and the whole thing is like, I woulda went, but if you went above 33rd Street, you were basically trapped there till, like, fucking 3 in the morning, and I didn't wanna have to deal with that, so I saw it today after work at Lincoln Square with a normal crowd, the 2 PM IMAX thing, center row. Very beautifully done movie. I have a lot of questions. I mean, we're gonna go through things piece by piece because it is first of all, this movie starts in an act 3. Like we're already in like an act 3 when this movie begins. There's no like flashback. We start that, and this is our first issue. I want to say I do not think Josh O'Connor was the correct guy to be the lead person for this. I think if you choose anyone, and because this is also my issue with challengers, I couldn't buy this guy pulled Zendaya. You get it? Or that Zendaya was cheating on her husband with this guy. And this is my issue with him and with the other rat face looking guy, Barry Keegan, right? Is I don't know who I would pick to be like our lead white boy to do this. I don't like, I'm just trying to think 'cause this is our first issue, is that I don't think he's good enough to do this. I understand you have to be some type of NSA coder guy who could have done it, and I'm like, ironically, I think Timmy would have been the correct dude for this because the other issue is, not issue, is I love, Eve Houston's character in this, right? Bono's daughter. The movie begins, right, is that Josh O'Connor is at a wrestling event somewhere, and he's watching it, and this NSA people are all right next to him, and they're like, "Give the device in the bag, or we kill the girl," right? So, Eve Houston's already been kidnapped by the government or whatever, and this happens. So they drag him into the parking lot, they see everything, he's got all the, what's it called? These terabytes of USB storages with all the information, and they're like, "Where's the main device?" They open it, and it's not there, and they show the girl, and then he puts a glove on, and he's holding the obelisk. And this is our first MacGuffin of the movie. These obelisks look exactly like the obelisk from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The obelisk that if you were inhuman and you touched it, it unlocked your inhuman ability. And if you weren't inhuman and you touched it, you turned into stone and died. So, by the way, the same rules seem to apply within this, is that if you have been interacted with aliens, the obelisk allows you to do other things, versus if you haven't interacted with aliens, it as we see later, it disappears you, and then you pop back in, and this is where we're gonna get into this other shit. He holds it, and everyone's scared to shoot him because I guess the obelisk might explode or whatever, that the military just lets the NSA people just let him go, and he steals their car with, Eve Houston, and there we go, and he pulls up a satellite phone, and he calls Coleman Domingo, who spends the entire movie in a set in Yonkers, and I'm not kidding about this because the movie part of the movie takes place on a soundstage intentionally, right? And I know what soundstage that is because I am shooting a movie right now in said soundstage in Yonkers. So, that is happening, and so every time they use a satellite phone, he has to throw it and chuck it. Okay. So next, they ditch the phone, and they're like, "We have to go somewhere no one's ever been before that they wouldn't say." And we go to a we go to the nun camp from One Battle After Another. okay? Because apparently Jane, Eve Houston's character, was a nun, but quit the nun tree or the ministry, right? And, what's it called? Josh O'Connor's like, "You were a nun?" He's like, "Not anymore, we've had sex," or whatever, right? So apparently she left the nunship school 3 years ago, and he's like, "Wow, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me." So then he shows her the videos of the alien that Nixon apparently showed some talk show hosts the aliens in 1973, and that the government said that presidents can't no longer know about the aliens and all of it, and they show the experiments they were doing on the aliens, and for whatever reason, Jane begins to cry because of the experiments done on aliens, and this is where my first issue is with this movie is Le first of all, the Pentagon in real life right now, the US government has begin releasing information on the alien ships, UAPs, whatever, right? We basically accept that aliens are real. The whole question is, I'm a firm believer in the Star Trek theory. For those of you who don't understand, is that Earth when a planet develops nuclear power, right, and they drop their first nuclear weapons, it sends a signal out to extraterrestrial life that supposed to go one of 2 ways. We either blow up the planet or become a multiplanetary species, right? And that's why that since the nukes went off, aliens have begun to observe Earth more and more to see where we path off, and that they're not allowed to interact with us until we become a multiplanetary species, right? So, that is the Star Trek belief, that's what I think. So apparently, Earth has been experimenting on these aliens, and for whatever reason, Jane is crying. She's like, "It's torture," because I guess it's similar to, like, how we do experiments on caged animals and whatever, and then it seems to make her question religion, and this is our next issue that we're begun to see in real life as well, as it seems to be of a general belief that people are accepting aliens exist humanoid aliens, right? Everyone seems to be like, "Yeah, there's probably some type of alien microbe, whatever, in other planets," obviously, but we're talking about humanoid aliens, right? So now I've noticed in real life, religious people really like Catholic people because they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we keep Catholicism going if aliens are real? Is that God also made aliens, right? That seems to be the gimmick. And that maybe in their Bible, because they're like, they seem to, and even in the movie uses this, we're all God's creatures on this planet, right? And then maybe on other planets, and this whole other thing about theology of what happens to religion and all of this. And I gotta say, I don't know if you know this, but if like aliens, like what type of aliens are we gonna get in real life? Are we getting A Quiet Place? Are we getting War of the Worlds? Are we getting Disclosure Day aliens? Are we getting Arrival? Are we getting Rocky from Planet Project Hail Mary? Are we getting Star Wars aliens? Are we getting Klingons? Right? Like aliens already are in our culture, and it's like we would not be shocked because of culture of with the aliens, but whatever. It seems to like shake her faith of Christianity, and this is like a huge thing with her because she was a nun, right? Then what happens is they leave because he gets picked up by this secret covert cell of people who are working with the NSA who are alien first people led by Coleman Domingo, and they drop him off at a motel. Next thing we see is that this is our next issue is that the bad guy, that Colin Firth, I don't think he's good enough to be the bad guy in this. I found all his scenes very cringy. I think who should have been the bad guy, just like it has to be someone more Britishy, but then they're supposed to lead a United States intelligence thing. And this is also the other issue is that do other governments have their own things within the aliens of like what they're doing, like experiment? Because there's no way like it's only in the States. Yes, we know they crashed in Area 51 and they crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, and a bunch of other shit. But we have to assume other governments have their own aliens and shit, right? And that is what's happening. So they're in the hotel, they talk. We then go to Emily Blunt's character, who is a hot weather girl. Okay, and she is doing the weather. She does a little shimmy dance that it's gonna hail, right? Real thing. And she is like, I hate this job, whatever, because her husband is Wyatt Russell. And they're just talking about like maybe we should move. Maybe I need to go to a bigger market. Like she's showing her self tape she did for other anchoring things. And what's funny? I know as someone in New York, I know a lot of people who are these people, right? These news anchors, whether it's local news or they're at CNN or whatever. And there's another news anchor who comes into this movie later. And between this one, I got a lot of questions on how they feel like this is going to be. Because Steven Spielberg really believes in local news, not only at like a random Kansas City affiliate. So this happens, and the Cardinal flies into their fancy Jersey City loft. Now, remember, this movie takes place in Kansas City, but I also have been into that studio loft because this is in Jersey City on Grove Street, the studio loft they're in. Whatever. And she looks at the Cardinal, blah, blah, blah. And for whatever reason, um, Emily Blunt now unlocks power. She can speak every language in the world, and she can also read people's thoughts. So she's Charles Xavier now. Okay. And she just randomly speaks, Russian to, Wyatt Russell. She's like, "When do you speak Russian or Polish or whatever that is?" He's like, "Whatever." She has to go to work. She's like, "Late, I have to do the weather." She's speeding, a cop pulls her over, and she's able to read the cop's mind, and the cop is kind of freaked out or whatever, and the cop lets her go. Okay, and then she begins doing the she then speaks randomly Korean to this Korean guy because apparently in this world, we are on close to World War III with North Korea, I believe. And this is going to be another aspect of the movie where I am so fucking confused with this because it happens fairly soon after. Because remember, this is still the same day. At the same time that Josh O'Connor is on the run from the NSA, Emily Blunt is doing the weather or whatever. Then Emily Blunt is gonna do the weather again. And then she begins speaking in fucking fossil tongue, right? Like in Harry Potter. And for whatever reason, the NSA algorithm picks it up. And they're like, oh, she's speaking the alien language. And it matches their record of the alien language or whatever. And she passes out and like freezes out. So everyone thinks, oh, she just had a stroke, right? That's what normal people think. Then we're in the hospital and they're doing MRIs in her brain, and apparently her father had Parkinson and died very young or whatever, and Wyatt Russell is like, "Are you okay?" Blah, 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 and then the NSA people are in the hospital, and she's able to read their mind somehow, and she's like, "They're not FBI. They say they're FBI, they're not FBI," and she sneaks out. They drive away. Okay, they just drive away, and she picks up the phone, and she somehow knew to dial this number. She somehow is able to call Coleman Dom no, that's right, Coleman Domingo calls Emily Blunt, and Emily Blunt automatically knows who Coleman Domingo is, and Coleman's like, "Oh, you're a passenger," or whatever that means, "And listen, you seem to know where I need you to go," or whatever, "So just follow your intuition. I feel like we're gonna meet one day." And then she keeps mentioning Josh O'Connor's character, and it's like, "Oh, okay, like, it seems like destiny they're gonna meet." Then what happens is they are at a 7-Eleven, right? Literally about 4 hours after the stroke incident on the weather, right? And we specifically are told the weather, um, thing happens at 2 o'clock. She gets her MRIs done, whatever. I guess this all happened in an hour and a half. So it's around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I guess, maybe, right? They're at the 7-Eleven, and we're in what is now that section in basically, um, what is it fucking called? World War Z or War of the Worlds, where, like, everyone's going crazy and they're looting the fucking store because 'cause they're like, "It's the end of the world, it's pandemic," and based on this thing, you're like, "Holy shit, every city in America should be reacting this way," right? Because if this is what's happening in fucking Kansas City at the fucking 7-Eleven, you'd be like, "Oh shit, oh shit." Meanwhile, while everyone's, like, rioting and stealing shit in the store, there's a car with a child inside, and this is where we're getting, once again, the worst aspects of War of the Worlds, is that, like, remember when, like, Dakota Fanning's character was just, like, left in the car? Um, for whatever reason, like, no one's stealing the cars, but they're just looting the store, and Emily Blunt leaves a note to the little boy to tell Wyatt Russell, so she steals the car, okay? And that's the end of Wyatt Russell in the movie. Okay, they're driving. Then we go back to Josh O'Connor's thing, and we see that the evil dude, the head of secret NSA, uses his. So there are 3 obelisks, okay? And we know that the NSA people have one, Col Josh O what's it called? Yeah, Josh O'Connor has one and Coleman Domingo has one, right? Those are where our 3 obelisks are. we see that when the evil guy uses it, we learn something that apparently the US government has been what, God, what the fuck is her name? There's a character in Agents of Shield that in season 6, she is able to jump into people's bodies. It's not Sybil, but it is like a character similar to it. I'm trying to remember the name. This is very unprofessional of me to do that. But that character is able to jump into bodies and possess it. So we learn that the US government has basically been doing that to find their bad guys. Because all you need apparently is a clear picture of the person and their full name, and they're able to jump into the body. But we see that first before he jumps into the girlfriend's body, he tries to jump into Josh O'Connor's body. But we learn you can't jump into people's bodies who have been possessed before by the alien or visited by the alien or whatever type of bullshit. So, and because when they jump in, they get scared and they see like some crazy thing and it makes them dark or whatever. So then he possesses the girlfriend, right? The girlfriend. Meanwhile, Josh O'Connor's in the farm talking to Coleman Domingo and shit. And he's like, yo, he sends a video of the Emily Blunt weather thing to him. And he's like, I hear it perfectly. They're speaking perfect English. And Coleman Domingo's like, no, we hear like Apostle tongue or whatever. And he's like, oh shit, okay. You have to go meet her or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And what we see is that, well, when you get possessed by the obelisk, like he passes through you and he's controlling you very in like a get out way, your eyes turn blue. But if enough pain happens because you share the pain, he'll pop out. So she keeps trying to stab herself with the cross, and it's like triggering things to him or whatever. And now she's possessed, right? She stays possessed, and he's able to see through her like an Apple Vision Pro, okay? And he's just staying there monitored. So then what happens is Josh O'Connor gets the call from Emily Blunt somehow, and he's like, "The cops know where you are. What I mean, they're finding you. Get the car, meet me, head west. You'll know, and I'll find you." He gets the car, you see the scene in the trailer where they smash through their house or whatever, but then we see the guy, the evil NSA dude, is still possessing Eve Houston, and he knows, like, cause so Josh O'Connor knows the possession ability. So he's been well aware about this because that's how the US government has been killing people they can't find. They just possess them and then they kill them, right? But they pop out beforehand because if you die while possessed, you also die. And he's like, "Don't worry, as long as pain happens, you do enough pain, he'll pop out." Yeah, so that happens, and then they're in a hotel, and she's like, "I can't be trusted. You have to tie me up while we sleep." So he's aware that she can be repossessed, and he knows he has to get rid of stuff, but for whatever reason, he still leaves context clues of where they're hiding out, because 'cause they're in Indiana, and she gets possessed again, and boom, the NSA people know where they are, they come and raid. She escapes with the obelisk, right? And they take Josh. For whatever reason, they don't decide to possess her again to see if she has the obelisk. And this is the weird thing I'm so confused with. But whatever, they take him to a lab. Then Emily Blunt, who now has full control of her fucking Charles Xavier abilities, walks into the NSA base because everyone is able to see their happiness person and just let them in because she's able to rewrite their brain or some shit. And then they touch, and that because of what she does, of how she interacts with them, they just let her go, right? They drive off together, he's so confused, she looks at him, she's able to absorb all the information, he's freaked out by it, he can't remember what happened before he was 10, she can't remember what happened before she was 10, apparently, whatever that is happening, and for whatever reason, as long as you're far enough, nobody shoots at them to kill 'em, like, which is crazy because she didn't possess everybody. Everyone just starts treating her like a religion. The other bad guy, co-bad guy, Agent Diaz, paid by random person I have no idea, is the only one who's, like, going after her, right? So, he tries to kill her on a train track, and then the Fast and Furious sequence happens where the car is a part of the train, and they hop off the car to ride the train, and another train hits them, and Agent Diaz is just shooting whatever, and he knows they're on this train, right? He can just follow the train tracks, but he doesn't. So Yeah, they talk on the train, they get out, and then boom, and now they walk, whatever, and the secret offshoot of the NSA that's pro-alien gets them, right? It just gets them, and then they meet Coleman Domingo, and for whatever reason, Emily Blunt's freaked out by Coleman Domingo because Coleman Domingo knows about everything, and then we see they touch Coleman Domingo's obelisk together, right? And they go back to their childhood to see the day they got taken by the aliens, and the aliens went to look like fluffy CGI Pocahontas animals to both of them. And we see how the aliens changed their mind and unlocked them because apparently they've been doing this to a lot of people because as we know, the NSA guy, evil NSA guy, has said that he can't jump into anyone that has been possessed before, right? Oh, as well as when Agent Diaz touches the cube, he just teleports randomly and then pops back in and freaks out. So that is happening, right? So we see these random abilities these obelisks have. That happens. They pop back out and they're like, I know what we must do. We have to go full disclosure day and we got to go to the local news. Instead of going live on TikTok or YouTube or something, I get it. Maybe they don't have the following, so no one would listen. They're like, we got to go to the local news station and we got to break into the real networks. Okay. And meanwhile, the NSA people, instead of just, killing everybody because they have the guns, they're like, we're going to blow up the power. Okay. And we're going to blow up the backup generator or whatever. And Coleman Domingo somehow also has an alien. So they transport the alien into the loading dock of the the talk show of the local news fucking station. And she goes in, they get ready, they're uploading all the information into the server, like fucking 300 terabytes of fucking data starting from 1957 or some bullshit. And they're like, we're gonna go. You need to cut to New York or this. And meanwhile, this is the other fucking issue. Apparently, we're on the verge of World War III. Now, the only people in this fucking version of the world who are like rioting and shit were in that random 7-Eleven. Everywhere else seems perfectly normal. Nobody else is freaking out or rioting or whatever. So that entire scene makes absolutely 0 sense from before. Okay? We're like, no one's like, okay, like, especially as we see clips eventually of like the rest of America, no rioting at all. People just seem to be going to work. Meanwhile, at random 7-Eleven, people were freaking out as if it was going to be the end of the world. Right? Oh, and I forgot, like, why it pops back in and calls it a hospital. Meanwhile, like, this is where I don't understand where parts of the world are rioting, parts of it are not. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here, Spielberg? Okay, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna break into the news." Meanwhile, they're like, North Korea is about to launch the nukes or whatever. So, they go to NBC to 30 Rock. They call 30 Rock, and they're like, "Yo, you gotta" would they have Puerto Rican Rachel Maddow is, like, talking about the North Korean war that we're allegedly going to because 'cause we're days from the war or whatever bullshit. And she's like, "I have important news to show you. We are not alone." And for whatever reason, um the NB this is where I really got angry about this fucking movie, is the NBC anchor, right? She's, like, freaking out because they show the aliens crash and, like, whatever. No one would give a shit if aliens are revealed on TV because some people, right? And we get these things of, like, dash cam videos of, like, from, pilots, and we see many different versions of spaceships, right? Some crash, whatever, and all of it, and we're like, "Okay." Like, so many people in the government apparently knew about aliens and it never leaked. I don't know if you know our US government, very incompetent. They still haven't found the dude who fucking kidnapped Savannah Guthrie's fucking mother, okay? So I really don't believe this US government is capable of covering up fucking aliens. But that is what happened. Meanwhile, Puerto Rican Rachel Maddow is, like, crying and like, "Oh my god, alien." I'm sorry. Can you I'm trying to, like, imagine if this happened in real life, and it was, like, Caitlin Collins or Jake Tapper or Rachel Maddow or Jesse Waters or fucking Barry Weiss or Tony Dokoupil or whoever. They would not be crying and breaking down about aliens, okay? In a world where we saw, like, Charlie Kirk get fucking popped on live television, Trump almost killed on television twice live, a mass shooting every fucking, like, week, we are not shocked by anything. So this idea that people are freaking out like, "Oh my god, aliens, we're not alone." Most people just believe in aliens, or they would have been like, "It's AI," or whatever, and all of it, and she's, like, crying, and she's like, "Oh my god," and everyone's breaking into the feed, so, like, "There we go. We're watching the full information. It's the closure day," about how we're, like, torturing non-humanoid fucking bio life or whatever and the ships and all of it, and everyone's watching on their phone, like, "Oh my god." Most people wouldn't give a shit at all. Let me tell they would not give a shit, and this is where I'm like, "Yo, Spielberg, no one would give a shit about this." Also, they wouldn't be crying. I'm just, like, laughing at this because 'cause I'm the only time I think I've ever seen, like, um, like, the news anchors cry, I think, is, like, when someone, like, important personally to them died, right? But, like, they would've been like, "Okay, aliens." Like, it would've been gone. Like, maybe it's because of the 10 years of Trump, nothing is shocking anymore, but, like, okay, aliens, right? Then, this is how the movie ends. They bring in the alien who is, like, 7'2", looks like a tall version of E.T., and remember, because only Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt can understand the fucking alien, sh they just they she talks to them. The alien talks to them, and then Emily Blunt is about to relay what the message is, and it ends, right? What the fuck is this? Okay? Between the whole, like, some of the world is reacting to, like, a possible underworld, some aren't, the Fast and Furious sequence, the we're body jumping in to kill terrorists secretly for 50 years, the whole we start in act 3 somehow, we're like, "Yeah, we kidnapped this girl." The fucking NSA people blow up the power plant, but they don't decide to like, if it was so important, right, that, like, the world can't know about the fucking aliens, they would've just mowed down everybody in the um, fucking television, network place, but they don't, right? They just let it go. He's just sitting back and watching. Everyone's like, and then some, like with fucking the other guy agent, they just leave with him. Like, what is this? What the fuck is this? This is so fucking stupid. It really is. It is such a fucking stupid movie. It is so goddamn stupid at all. It is so stupid. Okay? Like, it is a dumb fucking movie. And I don't think it should get a fucking 1 in a 10 best picture slots. I don't. I thought it should. I think it's a good movie. I would never wanna see this movie again. Too fucking long, worst aspects of War of the World. It's not a good movie, okay? I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not a fucking 1 of the 10 best pictures. Because right now, just trying to think of what the best picture movies are, early like the 10 that are gonna get nominated, right? Because 'Cause I'm kicking Disclosure Day off, right? Project Hail Mary, Obsession. I am going to assume Dune 3 is going to get in. I assume The Odyssey is going to get in. I assume Ford or however that is said is going to get in. I assume Digger is going to get in. I assume Social Reckoning is going to get in, right? That is 6 or 7 slots right there, okay? And maybe one of these other fucking Anne Hathaway movies are best pictures either. Maybe that fucking dinosaur one is actually really good. Maybe Verity is a surprise fucking hit. Who really knows? Maybe that fucking movie with Jacob Elordi and with the flu is good. Like, I don't know, right? Like, that's the thing. But right now, it seems pretty set on what the main movies are going to be. Oh, actually, no, the movie with David Cornsweet that's coming out in on The Irrelevant Man. That is apparently also a best picture movie, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm out on Disclosure Day. I'm out. Like, fuck this, okay?